Jamie Michelle Fraley was born on March the 5th, 1986, in Gaston County, North Carolina, to mother Kim Fraley. Jamie had hair problems from the onset. As a newborn, many believed she wouldn't live past the age of 1, but she did, and would later be diagnosed with bipolar and anxiety disorders, something she struggled with. But Jamie was determined. She took medication to manage both, and is said to have responded well. Those who knew Jamie described her as a firecracker, someone who could be extremely feisty at times, but also a sweet, kind and thoughtful young woman, someone with a big heart that would always help anyone in need. Jamie was intelligent as well as determined, and with her kind heart this led her to pursue a career as a substance abuse counsellor, for which she was studying part-time at Gaston College, alongside getting her GED. In 2006, Fraley met Ricky Simmons Jr. and the pair began dating. Jamie was smitten with Ricky, and they eventually got engaged and moved in together, residing at the Copperfield apartment complex on the 1800 block of Lowell Bethesda Road in Gastonia. Her family had concerns about Ricky, concerns which would be elevated in 2007 when Simmons was sentenced to 15 months in state prison for theft. Jamie, though, was in love and was going to stand by Ricky. She continued to visit and interact with him while he was incarcerated. Ricky's father, Ricky Simmons Sr., also lived in the same apartment complex and did maintenance work there, and he often kept an eye out for Jamie while his son was away. On April the 7th, 2008, Jamie was suffering from what doctors believed to be the stomach flu. It was severe enough that she twice sought treatment at a local hospital that day. As she had no driver's license, she relied on a social services worker and friends and family to take her to and from the hospital. The first time she visited was around lunchtime. After returning from the first trip, one of Fraley's friends visited her and picked up her dog, which Jamie had been sitting for her, then went out to drop off Fraley's prescription at a local drugstore. Between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m, Jamie decided she needed to return to the emergency room, unhappy with her previous diagnosis. This time she called Ricky Simmons Sr. The wait time at the hospital at this point was far too long. Jamie was told it likely would be hours before she could see anyone. She decided to leave and called another neighbour to ask for a ride back to her apartment. Once home though, Jamie was struggling. At around 12 a.m, thinking this was something more serious than a stomach flu, she decided she needed to go back to the hospital again. Just after this, Jamie called her mother Kim. Her mother, who was concerned at this point, asked if she wanted to be picked up the next day. Her daughter declined, saying she had an appointment with the Social Security Administration. Jamie later called a friend at approximately 2 a.m, saying she was getting a ride to the hospital again. The call was cut short when Jamie apparently saw her ride, whom she referred to as he. This would be the last time anyone ever spoke to or saw Jamie again. She never appeared at the hospital the third time. The next day, a healthcare provider arrived at Jamie's apartment to take her to her appointment with the Social Security Administration, but found her door locked. Unable to contact Jamie on her cell phone, they left. The next day, when her family got word that she had missed her appointment, they immediately drove to her apartment to see if she was alright, but when they arrived, Jamie still wasn't there. The door was locked, and inside they found her wallet, purse, keys and identification, but not her cell phone. Nothing else was missing. There were no signs of a struggle, so they concluded she had left willingly. Her family were extremely concerned though at this point. It was highly unusual to not hear from Jamie for this period of time, and on April the 11th her family filed a missing persons report to the Gaston County Police when they still couldn't make contact with her. Gaston County Police launched a major investigation, putting all its investigators on the case, with 3 of them devoted to it full time, and requesting assistance from both the state's Bureau of Investigation and the FBI. They interviewed Jamie's friends and family, and conducted door-to-door stops with residents of the apartment complex. The area around the complex was also searched, including a nearby wooded area. Divers and cadaver dogs also searched Lake Armstrong, located across the street, but nothing was found. On April the 13th, 2008, Fraley's cell phone was found by a cable company worker while repairing lines at the intersection of South New Hope Road and East Hudson Boulevard, about 1.5 miles from her apartment. By the time the phone was turned over to the police, too many people have handled it for any usable evidence such as fingerprints. Upon accessing her phone records, police found several calls were made from her phone at 4:30 a.m. on the day of her disappearance, but none of the calls connected, and the numbers had apparently been dialed from the phone's list of recent calls. A call was made to Fraley's phone at 5 a.m, but investigators were unable to determine who it was from. Investigators started looking into those closest to Jamie. Ricky Simmons Jr. was still imprisoned at the time of her disappearance, so investigators ruled him out as a suspect almost immediately. They quickly focused on his father though. Ricky Simmons Sr. had a criminal record, including 6 years in prison for manslaughter in the 1980s after strangling a girlfriend to death. He was also one of the last people to see Jamie, being one of the people who gave her a lift to the hospital. He also lived just 2 doors down from Jamie's apartment. When questioned, Simmons refused to take a lie detector test, and it appeared investigators were focusing on him as their prime suspect. The investigation would come to a shocking standstill though, only 2 months later. On June the 7th, Kim Sprenger, a former girlfriend who had recently obtained a protective order against him, noticed a foul odour coming from her car. When she opened the trunk, she found the body of Ricky Simmons Sr. The cause of death was ruled to be accidental heat stroke. Police speculated that he hid inside the car trunk and planned to harm her, but got trapped inside and died of heat stroke. Jamie's family were devastated, however. If he was the one responsible for Jamie's disappearance, he had now taken that secret to the grave. After completing their investigation into Simmons' death, detectives told the media that he had been considered a person of interest in Fraley's disappearance, which remained an open case. In the aftermath of her disappearance, Jamie's family made thousands of missing persons flyers, conducted their own searches, and hired their own investigator. In 2010, a billboard was installed along I-85 to help raise awareness about the case. Although few tips and leads have come in over the years, none have panned out. The family made attempts to enlist the help of forensic psychologist Maurice Godwin in 2012, but he was denied access to Jamie's case file. The police department cites the ongoing investigation as the reason for the denial, and as the years have passed, the case has gone completely cold. Jamie's DNA is available for comparison should her body ever be found, and a reward is currently being offered for information that solves the case. but as of 2025, Jamie Fraley remains missing and her case unsolved.